Well, hello, everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the LIV Golf podcast. We're going to try something different this week. We're going to break the podcast into two podcasts for the week. We're going to talk about the weekend that was in podcast number 1 for the week, and then we're going to come back in, well, it's not going to be later in the week. We're actually going to do a second podcast tonight. We'll talk about the weekend that's coming up. So we're going to break it into so you get to tune into us 2 times. Something new, always trying to look for some other way to keep you entertained. Thanks for joining us. The guys are here. There's no music because I'm actually at work. I'm in the final stages of preparation. I'm just assembling some bits and pieces for the trip. Of course, you all know that I am going to Scotland. You can see in the background there. If you check out the YouTube, I've got into the St Andrews vibe already. Got the Swilcan Bridge in the background. The guys are here. Who wants to talk first? Rocket, how are you, mate? No music, Rocket. I can't even put it in. Rocket's got to play his own music. Here we go. Can you play your own music, please? Dear, the technology. We have come away, Rocket, since sitting in the bar.
Sorry, that's going to sound terrible.
It didn't come through, but Rocket was trying to play his own theme tune music there. We have come away since we had to record in me sitting in a car in the laneway just at the rear of the shop that I'm in now. But now we're just sitting here on Zoom. How are you, Rocket? You well?
I'm very good. Had a very good weekend. It's been excellent.
Good.
I've been to the range. I've realised I'm really not golf fit. Ordered the bags for the trio. They've come in.
Can we just backtrack on that? I went to the range and I realised I'm not golf fit. Like at the range, you realise you're lacking fitness at the range.
No, it's just the hitting golf balls. It's just the repetition of hitting golf balls and not hitting them how, it's the expectation, and then there's the reality when you've kind of muscle atrophied yourself for probably the last 3 months.
Mike, this is a young man that came out of semi-golf retirement to turn up to Barnbougle Dunes after stepping off a, tri-state jet and, shot lights out. Did you have sympathy? Any sympathy from your end?
No, not at all.
Yeah, right.
I play golf all the time. I'm very golf fit. I'm just no good.
Did you have a weekend out or a day out on the weekend?
I had 13 holes out. I was a bit disappointed on the weekend because I wanted to play. I had a very good back nine, as I told you guys last weekend. I played the back nine in even par, and I wanted to replicate that this weekend. So I was all keen to go and play competition golf. So I called up a course that wasn't too far away where I can play comp golf on a Sunday, and yeah, they were less than helpful, to be honest. It's the first time I've sort of copped that, which is a bit disappointing because I only really decided to do it late on Saturday night. So I called the golf course and said, any chance I'm about to book online, you could point me in the direction of what group might be playing comp on, got your members playing that I can join in with? And he said, no, not really. I don't know who'll be playing comp. I'm like, well, oh, okay. He goes, just, pick a group. Oh, okay, cool. Booked it, picked the group, found a 3-ball off. It's a shotgun start. So I picked the 10th tee, figuring 3 people, 10th tee, good chance they're the members. And got there on the day and said, I just wanted to let you know if I can play in comp. Happy to play with anybody, happy to play with any team, not fussed. And he's like, yeah, no. Don't really know who's going to play comp today. I mean, they would have had 80 in the field playing comp that day. I said, there's no members that have got a 4th spot or a 3rd spot empty. He said, I don't know. Probably just best you play, whatever he said, like social golf today. And I just looked at him and thought, you could not have been less helpful here. So I left. I went down to the 10th tee and ended up playing with 3 very young blokes just getting back into golf. Well, not that young, I think 23, 24. It was Jeremy, Darcy and George, who were just getting back into golf after COVID. And I put on an absolute clinic for 13 holes. It was the best golf I've ever played. These blokes thought I was a freak. I'd had 1 bogey and 1 birdie through 13 holes. And for everyone at home, I was playing, my daily was 8. So that's pretty good going for me. Every time I needed to make a putt from 10 feet, I binned it. Never looked like missing. It was unbelievable. And all I could think of was kneel from no laying up. And that's what happened. I hit a booming draw drive down this fairway and ended up in a bunker that it shouldn't have ended up in. It rolled down into it. And made triple from there, bogeyed the next, and I had steam coming off me, which was good. But no.
Why did you only play 13 holes?
No, I only played 13 holes well. The rest of it, I kept playing.
Yeah.
I finished up with 79, I think, off the stick, but I had all dreams of breaking par.
So it's 13 holes of golf and 5 holes of something else.
5 holes. Yeah, I think I dropped 5 shots in 3 holes, 5 or 6 shots in 3 holes. I got back to even. And mind you, I could have been was one of those days where it was all coming together, and all I could think of was this bloke behind the kick who wouldn't let me play comp. I thought my handicap could have been anything. Oh well, that's golf.
It's it sounds like it sounds strange, but well done for 13 holes. But mate, it sounds fairly familiar.
Yeah,
same. I think I played last Tuesday. I had 32 points and pretty much the same. 13 holes of nice golf and 5 holes of very, very poor, double bogey golf, maybe triple bogey golf on one. Anyway, very good. Excuse me 1 second. I've got a guest at the door. He wants to join us in the podcast. Yes, Harley.
I'm just going to step out to move my car so Adam can get out.
Okay.
Right. So I'll step out for a couple minutes.
Yeah, okay. No problems. All happening here at Big Swing Golf Melbourne. Just playing car.
A TaylorMade looking for me, and they're at the wrong location.
I'm looking at a beautiful limited edition staff bag here. Rocket might have your name on it, son.
Ooh. They the photos that Drummond put up, I had a look at, and I was trying to look for even more photos to see what it looked like. It was only just the ones that were there.
Well, the ones that Drummond put up for the latest promotion, where if you get fit and you get suited into some graphite shafted irons,
shafts, yeah,
you can win one of, I think it's 4. I actually took those photos, Mike. Thanks for asking.
They did look very good. I just wanted more.
Oh, really? I might have some more. I might go back and get some more. No, I took those. I was down there with the great man Benji from TaylorMade on, when was it? Friday last week. Went down there, caught up with Benji. Had actually a little hit of some graphite shafted irons. It was really interesting. Not wanted to turn this into, sort of.
I was about to say something that you would have not appreciated then.
What's that?
I think it's good that at your age you're starting to look at the graphite shafts. Yeah.
I'm big enough to own.
Speed.
I can own my age with pride. 50.
Yeah, well, you hit it that far past me. We clearly know that I'm not betting them.
50's the near 30 mark in my books. No, but it was interesting because we were down there talking about this promotion that's on at the moment. So you can check that out online at Drummond Golf. But I actually hit some P790s with a steel shaft, and then I hit it with a similarly. The equivalent graphite shaft, not equivalent in weight, but just the stiff graphite and stiff
stuff like that. Yeah.
It was like a standard for standard. And you guys know me. I'd be the guy that would stand up here and go, just hand me the X-Flex. Thank you very much, 120 grams. And I put in the graphite shaft, and it was actually a really interesting exercise to do. I hit it pretty well, and it's probably an indication that, as you alluded to, even in jest, Mike, it might be time for me to stop thinking about big boy extra stiff or heavyweight shafts and maybe consider, because the performance results were. I
was going to say, what was the difference in what you normally
so
play?
What would you? Well, I can throw that back. What would you expect if I'm hitting a steel shaft and then I go same head into a graphite shaft? What would you expect?
Same sort of flex.
Yeah, it's just stiff for stiff.
Yeah,
different weight.
I would expect it to be and I don't know anything about this, but I'm going to just guess. I would say that you would hit them maybe 5 meters shorter, but assuming all things equal, that'd be about it. A little bit shorter, that'd be better on the pure ones.
No, with graphite shaft, it was actually different. So I got more club head speed, more ball speed, a couple of degrees higher launch, which then gave me a couple of degrees steeper ascent, a little bit more spin, so hence the higher launch, and no loss of distance, actually a distance gain. It was only marginal. So,
wow. Does the graphite have like a little bit more of a lower torque though?
Lower torque, higher torque, lower torque. Yeah. So it does twist a bit more, and that was an interesting point because, I went into it fairly cold. That was the noise you were talking about, Mike. That's the Discord. Scott Carter chiming in Discord. So if you can hear that little ping, we just let the Discord run, and people are just chiming in with the Discord all the time. You can join the Discord, the great Mile of Golf Discord. The torque factor was really interesting because I actually got a far better consistent level of strike with the graphite shafted irons, Rocket, which I found really interesting. I was totally blown away because I, here with all the resources that I've got here, I would never hit graphite shaft when I'm testing clubs. Very, very rarely. If it's just in there to pick up and warm up, but not as a serious sort of like, I want to see how this performs. And the torque was really good. And a lot of people think the torque can sometimes make the club head close too quickly, but it actually left it into a better impact position. It was a little bit, I wouldn't say open, but it really did give me a great, I was getting a few thin shots with the steel shaft. It was just a 120 gram stiff, but anyway, I fussed them all, and it was interesting. Anyway, enough of the talk on golf clubs. Let's talk about the weekend of golf. Are you still batching, Rocket? Speaking of weekend of golf and your fitness, you could get into a fitness program like I've been in for 2 months.
No, I just carried on the kind of the pseudo push-up challenge. So I've just continued to do push-ups, and then I've added in like some leg squats and stuff like that. And then I've got some smaller weights, and I'm doing some stuff for across my traps to try and sort of then, if I'm doing a heap of push-ups, I've got to even out the back as well. So, and then I'm doing some other ones on my forearms and stuff, and I've got to get a couple of the big not the tool striker.
The orange whip or this?
Yeah, the orange whip. I've got the orange whip sitting in the bag in the garage, so I got to get that sucker out and start swinging away like a madman.
Can I tell you something funny? That's what I was going to say. I went back to my training guy, Ben Croker, great young man, Peter Croker's son. Peter Croker was a very well-known Australian golfer back in the era of Billy Dunk and Jack Newton, and world-renowned coach. Speaking of tour striker, he actually coaches the tour striker guy. Actually, no, not Clint. No, the vintage club in Palm Springs. What's his name? Anyway, I'll think about it. I'll come back to you. Ben Croker. I went back to him and saw him last week, and you saw me on his Instagram there with the squat bar.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was Friday. I still can't walk. I had to walk down to 7-Eleven earlier on to get a $1 coffee, and like you should see me walking. It's like
shuffling.
Oh, it's like weird.
You were doing deadlifts, weren't you?
Yeah, deadlifts. That's what it's called. Oh, and it's like going for a PB, like at least 65 kilos. I can't walk. I had the massage gun out on Sunday, and the massage gun was pain. Thanks, Ben Croker. I appreciate your work. Quads are massive. Thanks very much. Anyway, sorry, enough about me. Golf. Big weekend in golf. More golf in America than we're used to, put it quietly. A tournament in Europe where I was able to maintain a little bit of night shift work. Was able to see probably my new pinup boy of the new Southern Hemisphere pinup boy at the moment. Nearly pull one off again. Big Foxy.
Yeah.
In Ireland at Mount Juliet. So let's talk about the DP World Tour for a start, because there's other news around the world, DP World Tour that happened during the week. But our boy, our other new boy, our new European boy, won the thing.
Hey? How did we not have at least one shekel on Meronk?
Captain Meronk, Adrian Meronk.
Unbelievable. You're gonna have to explain to everyone why.
Well, Adrian Meronk is one of the many new poster boys for the LIV Golf podcast. We've never met Adrian Meronk. We don't know him, but we've talked about him in the past. He would have come up in, I think, did he come up in the chat last week about the tipping?
He did, and he's been in the tips before, yeah.
Yeah. So we love the Meronk, and we put the post out with the artwork, as you see us put out every week. There's a new episode 189. Get on board. Thanks very much. Doesn't attract a lot of attention, that post. It gets a dozen likes or so, or whatever many. One of last week's likers was the man himself, Adrian Meronk. I was like, oh, hello, Adrian. And I thought that was pretty chuffed. And I shared that with you guys. And then he went out and won the thing. Can we claim that?
100%. I don't know why. You should have reposted the fact that he liked it, tagged him in it, and said, listen, this is how the magic works. You touch us, and this is you.
This is the My Love of Golf magic. Like the fact that you've actually attached yourself to us, like you are due for a victory. You should be putting money on yourself like now.
It's true.
Well, I didn't want to give the crow too loudly, but he has delivered on the My Love of Golf mojo. So, Adrian Meronk, you are the new My Love of Golf pinup boy.
We need to almost like create like a leaderboard thing and post it and go, if you've either had some association attachment, played in a pro-am with Ross, here's all your victories, post this. Here's your before and here's your after.
That's it. We should just chart it.
Yeah, 100%. Exactly. Before and after.
Yeah.
There's only one that we'll talk about, the one that's not let us, I'd never say that he's let us down, because he's a great man and always is great with a comment and a like and a share and a subscribe and all that sort of thing. But he hasn't done that well on the LIV Golf stuff, as Wade Ormsby. We'll get to talking about LIV Golf in a sec. But the Meronk came from, he didn't come from behind. He was leading, but our boy Foxy got out in front and just had an absolute back nine blitz. Foxy was amazing. And Meronk,
he's playing unbelievable golf.
Yeah.
Like I know there's been chatter about him, thinking he'd want to have a crack at the President's Cup team. I can't see how he doesn't play. There's absolutely no way he doesn't get picked if he doesn't make it automatic.
His last 2 months has been nothing short of just.
Yeah.
The only thing he hasn't done is win.
Yep. No,
that's it.
100%.
He's been in contention or contending, and he's put himself in a position. What is that? 2 weeks in a row, right at the end.
I reckon outside of the start that he had in the States, he had outside of the US Open and then maybe one other event. I reckon he's top 5 these last 3 or 4 outside of that.
Yeah, because he played all right in the PGA, didn't
I'm
he?
guessing. I'll look it up. Yeah. Yeah, I think he did. Yeah.
Yeah. So he hasn't. He's been rock solid.
I don't know what Mike. I don't know if you've got any sort of lineage on Foxy's match play history, but I couldn't think of anyone you would want more in that squad than the big Foxy, like for length and power, which is just such a huge asset when you come to playing against other ball strikers in match play. You know, to have that firepower there, that big bomber up there that hits it straight and keeps it fairly tight, and then a good bloke from all accounts to boot. You know, you want someone like that in a team environment. You know, his lineage around being in and around teams, with his old man being an All Blacks legend, you know, who would know how to behave in a team and how to get the best out of a team. I could only imagine that you would want someone like Big Foxy in the squad.
His results this year, he finished 61st, 26th, and then he missed the cut. And then he won the Ras Al Khaimah Classic, the championship. Remember, they had two tournaments in a row with nearly the same name. One was a classic, one was a championship. So he missed one.
At the Economic City.
And then he won, yeah. Then he's gone T15, T9, T8, T2, 54th at the PGA, 2nd at the Dutch Open, cut at the US Open, 3rd at the BMW International, and 2nd this week. That's a truckload of top tens.
Yeah, and the only thing that hurts him is that the events that he plays in, they're not attracting like high points, unfortunately. But again, form's form, right? So I'm just looking at the rankings, and it's got him 16th. So he jumped up a couple of spots. But then if I look at the players that are on that leaderboard, like some of them, I don't even understand how they're probably holding on to their ranking. They're not actually form players coming in.
Well, a couple of them might play.
Look at, you know, if you think about captain's picks, it's going to be a bit of a crapshoot. Like, there's a possibility that Leishman doesn't even make it.
Well, Answer won't play because of LIV.
Correct.
Munoz won't play. Munoz is playing LIV, isn't he? I think he was the one who was next to go if he hasn't already gone.
No, I don't think he's gone. You're thinking of Ortiz.
Sorry, yep. There's a couple there that'll come out, definitely.
Yeah, beige. The beige man might. You never know what beige man will do.
Yep, I would think the way he's playing, and we all love Mark Leishman, but right now,
He's
if you
terrible.
said you got a captain's pick and Mark Leishman's at 14 and Ryan Fox is at 16 on that list, there's no chance you're picking anyone except for Ryan Fox. You're not taking Lahiri.
Yeah, and what is it? It's only a couple of months away, isn't it?
Yeah, that's September. Yeah, last week of September, I think.
Wow.
Well, we'll see. Foxy has to back up. Keep backing up, and there's no reason why he can't do well in this coming weekend at Renaissance Club. We'll talk about that.
And I think he's going to have the right captain as well. That's going to pick the people that have got a bit of form, because it's Trevor Immelman. So I think he's going to be a bit less of a picking mates and picking people that are going to be form contributors.
Well, that's Foxy. We'll see how he goes this week. And then our boy Meronk won. Who else? Herbie was in it up into the third round, and then he had an absolute very poor start for the front nine on the last round. Maybe bogey start. Sort of had 44 over on the back nine, and then just brought it home like he did last year when he won the thing. Had a great finish. Got back up to minus 12. Obviously he'd be disappointed with the overall, but he'd be happy that he finished off after an average start to the final round. But I'm sure he would have liked to have put more pressure on the leaders right from the off, which a couple of them got an early jump. I can't remember who was it, but a couple of them went out early and went bang 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 with a few birdies in the first sort of 4 or 5. So that was always going to make it hard. But Herbie was there. Who else was? Where did Georgie, our other boy, George Campillo?
Yeah, he fell away a little bit after leading. Yeah, he only went 1 under. Just a few people went past him. That's the thing with the event, in that final round. If you look at the guys at the top of that leaderboard, the top 4 have gone 6 under, 8 under, 5 under, 5 under in the last round, and they've just gone straight. And if you were shooting 1 under, you were standing still. So they went past poor George, and he ended up finishing 7th overall. And
our boy Bobby, where did Bobby finish?
Bobby wasn't far back. He was 13th. Yeah, so 3 under. His second round killed him 73.
Yeah, I think he snuck in on the number pretty much for the cut. But yeah.
So did Shane. So Shane Lowry's finished 9th. He was in on the number. I think on second round he ended up shooting 3 or 4 birdies in his last 4 or 5 holes to get in, and it's finished 9th. So that's some charge right there. 68, 67 on the weekend.
Yeah, would rather it not be played at Mount Juliet. I was watching Jordan and a few others playing at Lahinch, obviously getting ready for the JP McManus tournament, which is just down the road at Adair Manor. It's a perfect place to go and have a little links warm up down there at Lahinch. You fly in to the Shannon Airport, which is on the west coast there. It used to be like the Island International Airport when you came from the States, because that was as far as the jets could fly back in the day. So Shannon's got this, it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's got this massive airport. So they would have just parked up there and driven the 20 minutes around the corner and jumped onto Lahinch. Saw the goats. Do you know the history of the goats at Lahinch there, boys?
No.
So Tiger was paired with them, yeah?
I think Tiger was playing at Lahinch, yeah?
Yeah, the goat.
Oh, the goat, no. Seriously, did Tiger actually play at Lahinch or not? He just rocked up to.
Oh, I just saw a goat. So
no, there's two
Tiger
goats.
was there.
No, not that goat. The goat, the real goat. The goats. Oh. No, Tiger's a real goat. The goats of Lahinch. Do you know the story about the goats of Lahinch?
I don't. I saw the video we on Twitter, but I did not know the story. No.
There's goats that live on the golf course, and they're obviously back in the day, I believe, put out there for keeping the grass down. When it's an old Tom Morris course, so Tom Morris was brought out there by I think way back in the day, there was some a Scottish Army regiment based down there in that part of Ireland, and they brought old Tom Morris down to do the original routing. Obviously, it's had a few little tweaks around the way. Mackenzie, that's one of the Mackenzie group of courses, because he had a bit of a go over it, and then I think someone else flattened his greens, and then they brought the greens back to real Mackenzie life somewhere down the track. But there's goats, and the goats have always been there. I don't know if they're obviously not the same goats, but they've always maintained some goats out there, and they just live out there on the course and eat the gorsey, bushy, brackeny things out there. And the legend is when it's crap weather, the goats come near the clubhouse, and that's when everyone knows that the weather's going to get bad. And when it's good weather, you'll find them out there in the frolicking down the fairways. So yeah, that's the goats of Lahinch. I couldn't believe it. If
someone said you played Lahinch, what did you think? And you said it's nothing but a goat track, no one would be offended.
You can't. No, exactly right. You can't disagree. I definitely saw the goats there when I was out there. Big brown one out there, just eating away. And if the weather's going to be rubbish, the goats will be near the clubhouse, and that's where they seek shelter. There you go. They were to the JP McManus. I didn't really fully understand how big that pro-am is, but it's pretty massive. What JP McManus does, he's like the wealthiest man in Ireland. And I haven't been to Adair Manor, but I've driven past it, and it's phenomenal.
Well, I'll give you the tip. I'm looking at the people that are playing. If you think Liv wants to target what a portfolio of players should look like, this is it. Tiger Woods is playing.
Yeah. Come in a big helicopter.
That sums up. DJ, Fleetwood, Scheffler. I won't name everybody. McIlroy, Westwood, Woods, Spieth, Fowler, Morikawa, Keimer, Koepka, Wiesberger, Justin Thomas, Harrington, Lowry, Poulter, Rahm, Schauffele, DeChambeau, Cantlay, Hatton, Seamus Power, Matt Fitzpatrick, Paul Casey.
Have you said Ricky?
No, I haven't said Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky's playing as well.
I'm going from the bottom of the leaderboard, so maybe Ricky's towards the top. G-Mac, Kokrak, Noren, Scott, Burns, Dunn, Stenson, Rose, Murphy, and Bjorn. And there's only a handful of people that are out on the course at the minute. And the leaders are Thomas Bjorn and John Murphy.
They're already playing.
Yeah, set off not long ago. But I didn't see Ricky Fowler on there.
And then you look at even the...
they've
got Nick Faldo as one of the amateurs.
Maybe Ricky Fowler's down as an amateur. I can't find him. I know there he is. What?
Well, there you go.
Never know. Yes. Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that.
When's the Ryder Cup at Adair Manor? Is that the next one?
Rome.
Rome
next year.
Yeah. And then Adair Manor is the next European venue after it goes back to America and then back to right. Okay.
Yep. So if anyone does the next tickets go on sale in September. So if I don't get any, I'll be putting a shout out for someone to find some for me.
So when does the ballot start for that? In September, is it?
They've already had one ballot go.
Right.
And basically they've got tickets for hospitality and other bits and pieces which you can buy now. So right now you can go and buy a hotel in Rome, transfers to and from the course, passes for the day and things like that. But they've got one coming up.
I saw the golf tours and stuff like that. They've probably got all their allocation and stuff, and now they're doing all their packages.
Yeah, so lots of packages you can buy now, all through the PGA Tour. But then there's and the Euro Tour. But then they'll do a normal allocation of the other ones, I think, soon. Or I think it's September on the last email I got.
All right. Well, what do we want to talk about first? We want to talk about LIV.
I think we do PGA Tour first, and then we can have conversation about LIV.
Okay.
In general, because it seems to be people want to continue to talk about it.
Well, you guys roll with the early morning shift. Take us through what happened on the PGA Tour with JT Posten.
It's going to be a quick review because it was pretty boring.
Yep.
It's really disappointing because we know it's one of the worst fields of the year because everyone shifts to Europe, like we talked about last week, and that's why LIV has played their event this week.
But it actually used to be a really good field, probably a couple of years ago. And they did a really good job because they would hire a heap of jets and have them basically on standby to fly people. Basically, it was like, if you play here, we'll put you on a private jet with your caddy and we'll fly you to Europe. Because if you're going to either be there the week before the Open or play the Scottish, we'll get you over there.
I reckon it was. I reckon it went straight up against the Scottish because I reckon it was like you finished at the John Deere and then you went straight into the Open.
I'm pretty sure that was correct.
Oh.
It was. You're right, Rocket. That's the way they did it. That's the way it was done. It was done really well. And then
do you reckon they've switched it, moved this because they've? Yeah, because with the new co-sanctioning now they've moved them around.
Yeah, well that's it. It's co-sanctioned now. The Barbasol next week. So yeah, it was a bit boring because one, as we said at the start, the field was a poor field, but also JT Posten smashed them like from day one. He shot 62 and didn't give up the lead.
Nope.
So we kept waiting for him to fall over, and he didn't. And it was really good to see him win on a couple of different reasons. One, because I do like following his caddy, Aaron Fleener, on Twitter. He's a very good follow if you do want to see something that's quite funny because he's good mates with Gino Benelli and Joel Damon and all those boys. They're very, very funny lads. But also, it reminded me of last year, this time, next week, it was the Barbasol. Was the one where JT Posten capitulated in the final round in that last one and ended up falling into a playoff and then getting rolled. And he hit that ball that was on the boundary line fence and it was out of bounds by an inch and a half or something. So it was good. 12 months later, nearly to the week, to see him come and win. And he had the Patrick Cantlay look down pat. He was a robot. He showed no emotion. Even when he was high-fiving Fleener after a birdie,
he's like, I've got to win this.
Didn't even crack a smile. It was like, high five, keep going.
Got to get the job done. Get the job done.
Very serious, yeah. It was good to see. And then the Tool Junkie boys tipped him as well. He was at 65-1. So they've had a very, very good week. But no, it was good. It was good to see him win. A few of the guys that were around the mark. Cam Davis had a reasonable week. He finished T8. Scott Stallings was up there. I think a few people had him in the tips. Christian Bezadenhout, who was pretty good at the start of the year, he finished off pretty well as well. But no one in Teepster had him. Nobody of our had him in the John Deeres.
It would have been the worst week. That's probably why I forgot my tips.
That's it. You did forget your tips.
Rocket, that's like, you should pay a fine to everyone in the Teepster.
Yeah. Pay a fine. The fine is the fact that I don't make any money and I lose my spot again.
I didn't overtake you, don't worry.
Well, the only people that made any sort of there's a few people that made okay money. There were three people that picked Scott Stallings. So they had T4 and they got 320K each, which was the Golf Labyrinth, Craft Golf, and Ed Hodge. And Denny McCarthy was a bit of a popular pick at T6. So that was David B, Goffey, and PK. So yeah, and that's another 250 grand into the kick. So they did pretty well. But there wasn't too much movement at the top of the leaderboard. Nomadic Golf is still winning 10.625 and Michael Lloyd at 10.359. So they're right up the pointy end. 3-putt or die 9.9, just under 10 mil, not far behind. The Sneaky Doctor marketing at 9.78. No 3-putts at 9.1 make up the top 5. But this week, which we will talk about a little bit later in the next episode, don't forget this week, 2 tournaments to pick. So you have to pick one for the Scottish, one for the Barbasol. So don't forget.
Did anyone else pick Smotherman?
No. I did laugh when I see you picked Smotherman.
I didn't know who to pick. We talked about Smotherman.
It was a lottery. Yeah, it was a lottery.
Smotherman failed.
And some people picked, I can't remember who it was, picked Jason Day and he withdrew. So they got nothing. Yeah, it was a bit of a funny old week.
Choppy waters in the data lake.
Yeah, a lot of the people at top, the guy that was at top of the data lake withdrew. The next 3 or 4 missed the cut, and a couple more down was first and second at about 16 and 18, 18 and 19. It was a funny week, but we said that it's going to be similar to the Barbasol this week.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Selling your house to bet on it.
Yeah, the John Deere used to be, I think it's with it now being up against this, the tour having that and the potential expansion of that thing. It's like events like this are going to get, they're going to get slaughtered.
Yeah. Well, they're going to get slaughtered from a global perspective, but from a local event, it'll still thrive. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys had time, but the No Laying Up guys trying to put up a video. He was there with his little boy, and some of the stuff they got to do on site was amazing. Driving tractors around, and they had a whole big area set up where you could drive a tractor and dig a hole with these massive things. I was like, that's fantastic. You couldn't do that at PK at the President's Cup. Drive tractors up and dig holes.
I'm sure Mike Hocking's got that planned. Yeah, sure.
Dig a bunker.
Yeah. The Jacobson people are down there. They'll have a hotted up quad cam buggy thing race.
But just the ability to, like, I mean, when you think about getting value for your money as a sponsor, I mean, okay, John Deere is well known all around the world, but to be able to sit there and literally drive tractors and dig dirt and push some soil around, it was amazing. And it wasn't like stuff for home. These were commercial vehicles. I thought that was really interesting.
I think it's another, I might have said it previously, they use that as the culmination of their world golf event that they have. You know, all the John Deere distributors around the world, you know, use golf as a bit of the marketing tool. And I think they have this, you know, for all their dealers and that sort of thing, have a golf tournament. And I think they take them all across there. So same as BMW, Mercedes, Audi. I was actually sitting at the footy on Friday night with one of my colleagues from Drummond Golf, one of the other franchisees of one of the Melbourne stores, who is a BMW driver. And he's on his way to the BMW, which is the second round of the FedEx, to play in the world final of the BMW event. So
where's that now? That used to be at Liberty. Is it still at Liberty? Is that the BMW there? Can't remember now.
I don't know. I have to defer to you guys for that knowledge. But yeah, so he's doing the same sort of thing. He'll go to the BMW, and he won the event. So yeah, good. All right. So
that was the John Deere. Yeah, there's not much else to talk about there. I'm sure no one's going to be fussed about the John Deere. I think probably most of the conversation we've had this week, even in our Discord channel, has been around LIV, to be honest.
Seem to be a few people watching it.
Did you boys watch it at all?
Yeah.
Oh.
Didn't watch it?
Oh.
Did you have any thoughts on it, Roscoe?
Well, it's pretty much echoed what I thought last time. You know, like, I don't mind watching it. I don't mind watching it, sitting there on the phone, on YouTube, got it on, can hear it, watch it for a bit, can listen to it while I make a coffee. I get to see plenty of action. And, you know, I thought Brandon Grace obviously played pretty well. I thought he was pretty pumped up to try and win the thing. Carlos Ortiz, the new guy, put a fair bit of pressure on him, and as did some of the other big names. Yeah, there was obviously Dustin and Patrick. And what's their team called?
Aces.
The Aces. They were the winning team, weren't they?
Oh, yeah, I think they were. I watched a little bit. I actually didn't. I don't know, Rocket. You would know better than me, but I actually didn't mind the look of the course. I thought the course looked interesting, like just very big ups and downs. A lot of
Pumpkin Ridge as a course is really, really good.
Yeah, it looked really interesting. Lots of elevation changes, and looked like it would have been a tough track. Yeah, I don't know about it. I mean, parking all the political stuff to one side, I think that I watched a little bit. It's obviously easy enough in this day and age. Streaming is where it's at, and being able to watch something for free on YouTube is tick. I think the part that I struggle with a little bit is, I was talking to Matt Molliker today. I said, I just don't. The part that is starting to really frustrate me is every single time the commentators talk or they're doing an interview with a player, they are telling me how good this is and how different it is and how much they're really enjoying it. It's like, don't keep telling me that. Like, the more you tell me that, the more I'm not believing it. And if it's so good, I'll see it's really good. You don't need to keep telling me it's really good. I'll enjoy it, and then I'll keep coming back to watch it. But the more I get shoved down my throat how good this is and how great it is, unless you're talking about how much money you're earning, for me, it's just a 54-hole tournament with no cut. I don't really still understand the teams thing, and that's not a slight on them. I just haven't paid enough attention to it. And I don't. I think they're going to battle to get the teams bit right, unless the team stays solid. No, maybe that will, but if people are going to change teams or they're going to add more in and drop people off, I think it's going to be a bit weird. But if they're going to have a roster, that might work. But yeah, I don't know.
I think the people that I speak to, the biggest question is that are into it is that fact there. You know, like, they know that there were people playing this week that didn't play in the first one. So why? What happens to the people that have played in the first one that didn't play this week? Will they come back? Is there a system to bring them back? Is there a pro-rel, promotion relegation type situation? So
it was a really good article, and I'll find it. I read it this week, and I think it was, I can't remember who it was. It was someone out of the UK. I'll retweet it off the MyLog account. But they talked a lot about that. and
Mhm.
basically talked about the fact that there are certain players that are signed on for X amount of events. I think, say, Paddy P might have signed on for eight a year for 4 years. And that's all he plays. Whereas, say, a DJ might be signed on for all of them. He's not going to be getting a day off because he's got 150 million in the bank. Whereas Jed Morgan doesn't get anything sign up, but he gets to keep, obviously, it's effectively for him, it's 120 grand. Even if he finishes last every week, it's 120 grand for last. So that's what he's getting. That's what the benefit is for him.
Well, I'm not knocking Jed Morgan, but it's not bad coin for shooting 76, 84, 77.
No, absolutely not. And for him, for someone like him, I won't say I get it or I understand it. Everyone's got their own decision to make. But for him, who doesn't have a PGA Tour card, they can literally do this until they don't need him anymore, don't have a spot for him, and can then go back to the Corn Ferry Tour and apply to do whatever he wants. The same as what anyone else. He's not going to get banned. You wouldn't think.
I don't think he had a card anywhere except for Australia.
Yeah, and he would have certain events that he'd be eligible into by winning, say, the Order of Merit here that he can get into.
Yeah, he got into the Open Championship and the PGA.
Yeah,
you might want to check it out. But I think winning the Order of Merit in Australia, didn't that get him a European Tour card? If you did.
I think maybe that does ring a bell for this year. I think they might have changed that. Yeah, that does ring a bell.
I think that was part of what that did. So has he burnt that?
Possibly, yeah.
Oof.
I mean, yeah.
Is the ban? We'll sort of loop back to it. Let's have a look at the bottom. We'll come back to that part in a sec because we want to talk about the European Tour because they made their statement fairly clear during the week of where their alignment is. Obviously, with the PGA Tour, we sort of talked about Keith Pelley having a check in front of him from the Saudis, staring him in the face, waiting to make a decision. But clearly he's made a decision and it's very clearly aligned to the PGA Tour. But let's just have a look at the leaderboard, the Aussies, Blake Windred plus 11, Jed Morgan plus 21. There were some fairly ordinary scores, Ian Poulter plus 10, Phil Mickelson. So I can see why people sort of, might be getting a bit skeptical when you see some of those big names not playing so well. When Wade plus 7. Okay, there might have been some tough parts of the course there, but when, what did the Luna have? Minus 13, Brandon Grace minus 13. That's a fair differential between plus 21 to minus 13.
I think okay. This could be completely off base. But if I've just been paid a lot of money to play this, and I know I can only play 3 rounds, and I'm used to playing 4 rounds, Jamie would be the best one to answer this. I think it'd be very different to change your mental attitude. If you're 5 off the lead through 2 rounds, how do you concentrate to think, well, I can't possibly make up to get to that leader? It's a very different mindset because it's shortening the amount of time you have to catch up to that leader. There'd be a million things that would be very different playing 54 v 72.
Yeah, no cut, and you're guaranteed your money, right?
Yeah.
So what's the mental switch? What's the inner motivation besides trying to earn as much money as you possibly can by finishing further up the leaderboard? Or are you just going, I'm not playing great, so I'll just write it out?
Yeah. Or ask Taylor Gooch. I mean, he'll tell you it's the same as the Ryder Cup. Did you hear that?
No, I think I did, but I didn't. I heard he said something like silly like that.
Interviewing him at the end of it, and he was standing next to Patrick Reed, DJ, and someone else. And he said, "Look, I've never played in a President's Cup or a Ryder Cup, but I would think this is very similar. Like this is as good as it gets." And I'm like, "That's the dumbest. Like it either is or it isn't. If you've never been there, how do you know?" It's a very, very weird comment.
Did he mean that around like the crowds and because they were fairly?
He's talking about the energy, right? But it was like one of those things where it's like
there was a lot of people there,
dude.
There was, I think, and probably slightly back onto what we said before about what we like and don't like about it. I actually don't like the fact that they all play at the same time. I find it really hard to concentrate. Like I find it really difficult. Maybe I'm just old, but everyone's on the course at the same time. It starts and it's like, right, here's this highlight of this. This is happening here, and it's like, whoa, and I get.
But I think we talked about it. Like that's the difference in the way that you consume the PGA Tour stuff and how I consume it. I don't mind that. Just show me a little bit here, a little bit there, a little bit there. I don't want to watch the PGA Tour and get bogged down in feature groups and watching them for extended period of times and have less cameras and covering less holes and then smaller groups of people for longer periods of time. And the European Tour still is like that, but by virtue that it's late at night and I'm sort of half awake, I don't mind watching it. But I appreciate the fact that I can just chop and change, and maybe it's because I can do other stuff and come back and not feel like I've missed too much. I don't know, but you're right into the PGA Tour. You're very invested in.
Oh no! It's not even the PGA Tour. It's not even It's not even saying what they do is better, because there's a million things about their coverage that I don't like.
For sure.
I just don't like. I don't find it comfortable watching when everyone, like a shotgun start. Literally, you have 18 tee shots that happen at once, right? And then, I don't even know how many are in a group, 2, 3, 4, whatever it is. So effectively, if you've got 4 great tee shots that you want to show, you have a very minute amount of time to show all those shots at once, and before you need to show the next shots in. I just find it very compressed. I know it's got very compressed, but that's the only bit I found a bit weird, because it was like, especially at the beginning, because it was like, here's the putting on first hole from this person, and then it's like, here's a putting on 2 for this, here's a putt on 8, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh my god, what's going on? I find it a bit.
No, I get it, and I guess probably the thing that when I reflect on how I've been watching it is like, it's just a bit of entertainment at the time, but I'm not really invested in the whole suspense drama and is Brandon Grace going to sink this putt to get the win? I'm not as invested in that. I thought it was great that he's playing really well, and that chip in to really sort of drive the nail in the coffin over all tees. It was all good, and he really wanted it, but I'm not really that on the edge like you are in some of the bigger tournaments. So it's entertainment over here, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it.
I actually should watch the end of the next one, because if it's close, the part that I'm really confused, and again, I haven't watched the end of them. So let's just say it's the end of the tournament, and there's three or four people that are in it. One's playing the 8th, one's playing the 16th, one's playing 18th. I reckon it'll be so weird. I'm not saying it's wrong. I just will find it very weird to get my head around.
And then if you watch it to the end, you'll get to see Sharks, handing out Heinekens over the corporate balcony.
Yeah. No. Sharks. Yeah. I
Old
think a lot of
Rocket.
people have said a lot of things about Shark, and I don't think many of them are wrong.
How are you feeling about the Shark these days, Rocket?
I've got a bag of Tour editions.
Yeah, 2 bags.
Oh yeah, the second one will come soon.
So does that mean that there's still a little cinder of a candle still burning?
No, there's the person that got me into golf and who I watched and lived and died by for the good part of a decade. And then there's whatever this thing is.
It's every time you watch, that's the thing. Every time you watch LIV Golf, you're just seeing a version of Shark that, if you thought the sea cucumber and the stupid dancing in the house and all that other stuff was bad, it's just getting
naked by the lake.
It's just getting amplified. I did think that it was a bit weird, and I shared it with you guys, that when the guys walk up on stage and get introduced and all that sort of thing, and I watched, as much of that as I could see. Yeah, there were some people that really were embracing Shark, but there were some that were like, yeah, okay, Greg, give you a bit of an awkward hug and sort of chest bump. And the fact that they all got to come up one by one and then give Greg a high five and a hug and a chest bump, it's just weird.
Yeah.
I just feel weird.
They keep talking about it like it's a family, though. That other part just it just don't sell me on it. It sounds like a cult. I don't know. It's weird. But
yeah. Look, good. I'm happy. I'll watch it again. I'll watch it again.
Watch it, and I agree with you. I'll watch it again as well. I really will, because
I haven't watched it
because I want to understand what it is, and then I want to decide whether I like it or I don't like it. Politics to one side. The graphics that they use on the showing the hole, it's all like 8-bit sort of footage. I don't like that. It doesn't tell me anything. It's very much made for maybe the new millennium. I don't know. Millennials. I got no idea. It's a bit weird.
It's like that Formula One sort of car sort of.
That's
copied that.
It is all very much driven towards. It's almost it's getting golf and Formula One had a baby. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's same as what Formula One does with the sprint session and this and that. And this.
But the thing is though, the difference is that Formula One, you know exactly who the damn drivers are every week for the whole season and over years. Where this event, they're changing players all the times, and they're moving teams and stuff like that. So it's borderline.
You would hope it settles down. Otherwise, they're going to battle. But look, that's just the golf side of it. The conversations around politics and everything else is a whole different kettle of fish. But I don't know.
I don't. I don't agree with any of it. But I'm not going to let something that I can't control. I don't want to say the wrong thing. I don't want to sound like I'm saying the wrong thing. It's really everyone that asks me about it, like I always can sort of wrap it up by going, it's really hard to have an opinion on it, because like if you enjoy the golf, then you somewhat can feel bad because you're actually feel like you're supporting the regime, which is you don't want to. No, like I don't know anyone who does. So it's really I always feel conflicted about just even talking about it. What I do know is I'll watch it again. And what I do know is I want Wade Ormsby to be, the Mile of Golf, LIV Golf flag bearer. I want to see Wade do really well in the time that he's going to be playing. And I don't know how many events he's signed on for. I don't know anything about it, but I want Wade to play really well, and I want him to be the Mile of Golf.
Isn't he a captain?
He's a captain. Yeah. So does that mean that the captain's changed a lot though?
They've dumped a couple captains.
Yeah. But I just think, I don't know. But if I'm in marketing, and I think that next year I might want to have an event in Australia, because from all reports they're heading out to have a look at Sydney and Melbourne in the next couple of months. I've got a team there that's all Australian, unless Adam Scott jumps in. I think he stays there as captain, you would think. You got an all Aussie team, the home crowd favourites when they come down. Don't know.
Scott Hen might get a look in.
Yeah, don't know. You might. I think they'd prefer, you would think they'd prefer to play the kids.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The future.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, interesting. Well, where would it go in Australia? Don't say PK.
No, I'm not going to say PK again.
Bash me on PK again.
No. Look, again, I think
it wouldn't be on the same. It wouldn't be on the same.
There's no way. No. So, and please, I'm not saying PK is like this course, but I would say if it's going to be a members-based course, it has to be a forward-thinking course, right? As in like someone that's not thinking of the older demographic of their members. They're thinking about taking their club to the future, right? So it has to be a new style club if it's a members-based course. I would guess if they played it in Australia, it would have to be somewhere like Moona Links Open Course, because they've got 2 courses there. They can do what they like. It's already set up for TV. The wires are already built under the ground for the Australian Open. It's ready to go. And they'll happily take the money, surely.
Entrepreneurial ownership.
Didn't Shark have some?
Peter Thompson designed that one. But,
no, he's got a fingerprint down there somewhere.
No, not at Middle Links. It's Thompson was the open course, and then it was Parrott. Rossi Parrott did the other course.
Okay.
Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, but somewhere like that would fit.
Oh, sorry, I'm confusing the Moona course at the National.
That's Shark Alley.
But like, if he's going to pick a Greg Norman course, well, there's a few to pick from.
That was run.
Take it to Sanctuary Lakes or something.
Sanctuary Lakes.
I mean, look, there's a lot of golf courses there. That one's a membership-based course, but I can't. Yeah, I think if what they're going to try to achieve from a television perspective, I think somewhere like Moona Links in Melbourne would make sense. I don't know enough courses in Sydney. I don't think they'd play anywhere outside of those 2 cities, to be honest. Yeah, don't know.
Interesting. Well, we can speculate, but who knows? Anyway, Brandon Grace. I think even Brandon Grace had his team badge embroidered on his shirt. I don't know if you picked that.
They've got a whole lot of merch.
They all don't have their logos on their shirts, do they?
A few of them do. I know. Rockets mate Paddy Reid was covered in the LIV logos. Hat,
I think that's
collars, everything.
That's an ambassadorial. You would have to think that he's one of the. You've got to turn up like a DJ, and you've got to wear the badges. If you want to come, you've got to wear the badges too.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, don't know.
There would have been plenty of room for them to put their badges on there, because there aren't too many other
other
brands clamoring to be on his sleeve.
Rocket, does this mean that you're, when we said, did you watch it? And the response was no. Are you never going to watch it?
Don't know. I'm definitely not watching the next one.
Where's the next one? Is that Bedminster?
Bedminster, yeah.
Why are you not watching the next one?
One, you know how political I can be.
Really?
And that person in particular, from the industry that I'm in geopolitically, like,
at the Trump course.
Oh, sorry.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah.
Rocket, because I know that we're coming to the end of the episode of last week and I can set you off, can you explain to me, as just a general moron, now there were people shouting out things like "Go DJ," cut their limbs off, and people wearing very, very, very sneaky political T-shirts and things like that.
Well, it's not sneaky.
Well, it is for me, because I don't know enough about it, right? But you do, right? And so I sat there and went, I'm baffled as to why you do that. If you're not for the regime, and you're so against it, don't go. If you want to pick it out the front, go pick it out the front. But that's not what they did. Can you give me your rundown, please? I'll go on mute.
So there's 2 parts. There's one part in Portland. So there was a young girl that was run over by a I don't even know if they were a drink driver, but it was a hit and run, and they were going to face charges. And it was a Saudi national, and Saudi Arabia had bailed them out, and in the cloak of darkness, fake passport, etc., flew them out on a private chartered jet back to Saudi Arabia, never to face charges in America. That was about 5 years ago.
And the bloke, that one was the guy that was standing on the side of the tee with the guy's mugshot across his whole t-shirt.
Correct.
On the side of the LIV tee box.
Correct. So that's in Portland, and not Portland, just it was like in that area. So that's been a pretty contentious one already for the last 5 years. 5 years? I think it's nearly 5 years. And then you would have the community itself probably up in arms, just thinking about Saudi Arabia, just before you even bring the LIV factor into it. And then you add in probably the growing, the families of 9/11. So they're probably turning up in their droves into those events. So if you add those two things together and you think about it's free tickets, they're going there to send a message, they're going there to protest, or just make it uncomfortable and just be just general nuisance really, it's just to send a message and bring attention to the things that they're protesting. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And the unfortunate thing is like you could nearly have 5 rocket episodes on geopolitics, especially in the US, and the US's involvement in many other countries. And as I always say, the spider web that you can never spin out of. And that's the unfortunate thing, is that just these things are it's really hard to separate things because there's too many things are intertwined, and those people would have just seen the opportunity to just bring attention to it.
It'll be interesting once they do add the little cherry on top of the Donald Trump golf course coming up.
That one's going to be that one's going to be really interesting because one, he will be there, right? We know Mango Head is going to be there, right? And because him and Shark actually go way back, right? So they're going to be hugging, awkward, just two of the biggest, like in terms of if there was a narcissist convention, like there's your two keynote speakers right there. So this is like the meeting of the two minds. Like they're probably going to merge together. Like Station. That's a Bill and Ted reference for anyone out there. And so it's going to be really interesting seeing what happens, because you're going to have Saudi Arabia again, but now you're going to have people protesting Trump in New York and on the edges of New York. And what people don't realize is that New Yorkers actually hate him, even though he lives there. Like they hate the family, like really dislike him. So it's going to be actually really interesting to see how that's received.
When is that? When is Bedminster Rock Around? How many weeks do we have to wait for that?
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
The 27th of.
Is it the week after the? It's the week after the Open.
Maybe 2. Yeah,
I think it's the week right after the
week after.
Yep.
Interesting. Well, Rocket.
I just had a bad feeling.
What was that?
Just imagine DJ wins the Open Championship and he takes the Claret Jug to the next LIV event, or someone that wins from LIV. Couldn't you imagine?
Oh, that's like, I think it's Mabel when she took the women's championship belt and went on to WCW and announced she was moving in there and just had the belt and dropped it in the bin.
Could you imagine? I could see the Shark there. They'd be drinking out of it. It'll be out of control.
The last thing that we touched on it, but we haven't really spoken about, but that's the DP World Tour getting into bed with even further with the PGA Tour, which means that some of the players can't play in the week coming up. We'll probably talk about that in the next podcast, but they very clearly made their mind up, and I still don't think that the raft of changes that they're purporting at this stage, I still don't think it's enough. I don't think they're going too far enough with bringing up the young talent, giving them more opportunities. What do they go from 25 to 30 cards? Yeah, they'll have a few more opportunities, but I guess they can't start with the whole hog. But it's a start maybe, but still not enough for mine.
They're never going to get equal. They're never going to get parity. They're always going to be the little brother, because they are. That's the sad thing.
Sorry, and I'm sort of, I guess, went off track there. I was even meaning like the changes that the PGA Tour sort of muted on the
for the Corn Ferry stuff.
For the Corn Ferry stuff and all of that, and more money and fanning all this money, and then getting the European Tour to align more closely.
So
still not enough.
This is almost a pod episode on its own. the PGA Tour, the problem that the thing that they're not missing, the thing that they're missing is it's going to be about the product. Forget about the player. It's about the product. What is the product? And then how do you actually then create a story or and then also it's the product and then how you do things for the players. Like, for example, people that are the golf nerds, how do you actually then promote those second tiers down? How do you do things in events that actually make it do something that create incentive for players to do things? Like the one I heard the other day, Shane Bacon on Get a Grip had a great one. He said, why doesn't the PGA Tour have best round of the day in each tournament and you get 50 extra FedEx Cup points for shooting low round of the day? Like real simple stuff. Like they could create and then have that like they could flog that off to a sponsor and have like a leaderboard for the day in terms of, there's lots of little things that they could do that could make it interesting and like keep your eyeballs on it. But I think they need to stop trying to copy what they're competing against.
The tricky part they've got, and this is not a pro PGA Tour, this is just a marketing salesman lens, right? They did that with the Hilton Rewards and the
Wyndham Rewards, which was really just a copy of it's the same 10 people as in the FedEx Cup. It was just giving money away.
Correct. It's just a way to give money away. I think that the really tricky part is for us, we are the market they are not marketing to. We are not important. We are done. So they are trying to figure out how do we grow the game, or how do we, for want of a better phrase, how do we get to the people that aren't watching it, and how do we get to the people that are watching it infrequently to watch it more?
How do we get the person that watches the majors to watch the PGA Tour?
Correct. Absolutely.
How do they get my mate Adam down the road, who will talk to me about the majors, but he will never talk to me about any other event unless he knows there's one or two golfers who I follow that are playing all right.
Exactly. And so for them, that on a very, very basic lens, that is why now, and I know we said they're copying what they're up against, and they are definitely bits and pieces, but a lot of the stuff would have been in play, and a lot of it's stuff from that PGL that was talked about, for 3 or 4 years that they're all copying. But effectively, that's why they're going to shorten the season, give the guys more money that are going to have the top tier guys, reward them to be there so they can play more events. So like you said, if, Justin Thomas is playing 15 events a year, they're all the 15 events they want him to play, and that's all it's going to be. And then he's got no reason to go and do anything else. They need to keep the eyeballs and grow the people that aren't watching.
And this goes back to them creating the actual their own PGA Tour, go together to all of the other tours, and sort of go, we're going to create like this top tier, and we're going to have these actual WGCs, and we're going to have X amount of them, and they're going to be all around the globe, and they're going to be played outside the majors.
100%.
And then everything else is then this other tier underneath that.
Perfect world, that is it. Perfect world is they will end up propping up the DP World Tour. The DP World Tour keeps doing what it's doing at a lower purse. The PGA Tour is the main event where they want people to go and play. And then, like you said, there's 10 events around the world, 12 events around the world, or 5 events around the world that are the big outside the majors. These are the ones you want to win. They're worth the most money, and they're a world tour. They're like that step above.
Yeah, they're not going to get the Asian tour, but if they go, we've already got Australia.
They can still have tournaments.
Still got
Japan,
Japan,
Korea, and won't
still got Japan, right?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you could go to the Japanese tour and go, we're going to run a WGC event there. We're going to run a couple in Australia. We're going to do.
You only need 4 or 5.
You don't need exactly
4 majors. You got 4 of those. That's 8 events. People aren't playing more than 20.
Yeah, so, 8 WGCs, and not everyone's going to play in all of them, but you're going to still get, if you just run a 70-man event, like a normal 70-man event, like one of the FedEx Cup ones, and have it no cut. You could muck around with formats and stuff like that.
Of course, you could do it. That's the thing. I mean,
it's like like the Champions League. Like I just keep going back to looking at what other sports do and do really well, and how they run their system to keep eyeballs engaged across a home and away series, across the Champions League, playoff events, all that sort of thing.
Run you could just run it straight off the world rankings, and then you could have top 50, and then the 20 is like all these other little bits and pieces. You could have
the only thing that goes against it is the times, because they can't play every week. Like in say EPL, they might play 2 games in a week sometimes to make up, which they can't do in golf. And the guys are you're only getting these guys 20 times a year, and they have to play 4 majors. So once you do that, then take out Christmas, Thanksgiving, FedEx Cup finals, whatever it is you want to finish up, a President's Cup, a Ryder Cup.
That's why you have a different system. Okay, and now I get, if you call them teams in the PGA Tour, that leans too closely to PGL and LIV, but you've got all these sponsors. You've got all these people who want to pay money to sponsor events on the PGA Tour. So the market's already there for the money. So give them franchises, give them, a roster of players, and open up that roster that goes deeper into the Corn Ferry Tour. And when the big guns don't want to play, well then, the guys that are aligned to a franchise, so to speak, can come up and play. Or there's a promotion relegation within a team. Like if you're playing, and there's a opening season. That's why I asked you for that list the other week there. Like, have a qualification sort of part of the tour for these younger guys to qualify for, to be in this pool of, you can come up and play in these big, these mid events that the big guys don't want to play in because they're having, and then save all the big guns for these 8 Champions League type scenario after the majors and bring the big guns back out. And
the problem is that those events they get into now, no one will watch it. Like no one watched John Deere last week. No one's going to watch Barbasol this week. Nobody.
Yeah,
and the list this week is and we'll talk about it in the next episode. But the Barbasol list this week, because it's co-sanctioned, it's got a bunch of European Tour players, a bunch of Corn Ferry Tour players, and a bunch of guys that can't get into the Open.
So my alignment on the week in, week out PGA Tour events, other than the ultimate one person winning, there's nothing on that. So if there was, a franchise aligned group of players that were part of a franchise, so the sponsors can throw money into each franchise, and maybe it's college alignment, maybe it's like conference alignment, maybe it's like where they live alignment, or maybe it's just OWGR. You go, if there's 10 teams with 14 people in it, or 10 groups with 14 in it, one starts here and it goes through to 14, and then 14 goes back the other way. So they get sort of equality on OWGR. And you have this system where a group of guys can drop in and drop out, and there's no downside for the guys that come in. And some way that there's still an individual event, someone still wins the thing, but each week in, week out, they play, one franchise plays against the other, and then there's like a championship. And that way, an event like the John Deere, where everyone buggers off, and then you got the lower quality, the second team playing, they're still playing for something. There's still something in there for the franchise. So there's a draft season, there's the premiership season, there's the major season, and then the Champions League season. And the second team sometimes plays, like sometimes in home and away football, you got the second team playing.
Yeah. The difficulty would be if I'm a Corn Ferry player and I can go up, you'd need to work out some way that what I'm playing for goes back to my status to get me up there permanent.
Of course.
It has to be.
Of course.
But I think that at the end of the day, all of that, cool. It just means more golf in America as well, which is not going to help us.
So no, but the Champions League thing, they can take that, the big events, they can take that around, and they might have some of the the swing, the qualification series, down here or over in Europe aligned to all the other stuff. So there's ways to do it. There's ways to do it that makes it, basically to Shane Bacon's point of having score of the day. It's a game within the game. More gamification of the product. Still, there's someone on Ultimate Winner. Still, they play in all their other big events.
Yeah.
But have more games within the game where people like me and you, or people like these new people can align themselves to. The whole reason why these teams and these big sporting organizations exist is because people align to teams, not the team of a LIV team, but a team that has people in it that are known entities or known teams within an area. Like America's proved that a team can move, a franchise team can move from LA to wherever the Raiders have moved 17,000 times. I think people align to that. And then
no argument on the team piece. I think the tricky part is for teams, like you look at Ryder Cup, teams work, right? People love supporting teams. I think just golf is not a team sport at the end of the day. So that's going to be the first hurdle to get past. And then you eventually have two things. Is it the team? Is it this? It's something there, not against them doing something different. I just don't know how to do it. I don't know how to do it and make it fit into what times they're going to be able to play with.
If you've got competition within each franchise, I don't want to call it a team, but within each team, if you've got competition within each team for spots, because there's money on the premiership, in that part of the season, there's money for finishing first as a team, and there's competition within that team for spots. So if you don't perform over a couple of weeks, you're going to go down to the KFT, and the boy who's aligned to your team is going to come up and get his chance, and he might stay up. I don't know.
Then if I'm a Corn Ferry guy, do I sit there and say, nah, you guys go, I'll stay here on Corn Ferry Tour every week?
No. Well, that part of it finishes. That part that we've talked about, saying that ruins, the opportunity for these young fellas to play and want to achieve great things and have the opportunity to come up because there's all the old stages up there keeping them out of it. That sort of that
But
premise
that doesn't.
works.
I don't know, and I know we've talked about this, but I don't think that really happens that much. If you look at the way that entries work, most of the guys can get access in there. It's just no benefit for them to play. That's why you're getting guys
basically
playing
my
shitload
sort of
of money.
premise, my sort of the way my mind thinks is this qualification, run of events at the start of the year, creates the opportunity for these guys to earn the right for selection in these teams. And then they can get selected by the franchise, and then they can go up and go down.
Well, that's where they're going to play. That's the time of year where they're going to play. You're right.
Yeah. So they're going to play. They're all going to play there, and then they're going to have the opportunity. Now they're still going to play during the year because they're going to have their own. It's like first division, second division. It's like there's guys that play for Melbourne City that never played a first game, but they're on the roster and they go and play in the seconds, and same as rugby league and all that sort of thing. Yeah, they still bust their hump,
100%,
and then they get their chance.
No, everything you're saying, I get. The only tricky part is the difference is the guy that's playing seconds for Melbourne United isn't guaranteed to get a spot in the seniors the next year, depending on how he performs in the twos. Whereas in golf, you do. So if someone stays down in Corn Ferry and doesn't want to go up and lets his mates go up there and keep playing, he stays down there. He might then end up in the top 25 and automatically get a card, where his mate might not be, and he's in the plus minus. So it's just things like that. That, not saying it's a silly idea. It's just all the things that need to be.
There could be systemized to make that work. There could be a systemized to make it work. That there's just an overall point system or whatever.
Yeah, I'm with you.
No one's going to listen to me anyway. But
no one listens to any of us. They're doing the vacuuming listening to this.
So many opportunities. Like you look at what's the Golden State Warriors, and this is probably what made me think about it when they had that playoff season, whatever they do. I don't watch the basketball, but I looked at all of them, and there's all of these individuals, big name individuals, big money, big name players who have got their own brands and all of their own stuff that happens outside of that team. But when they step up on that court, they're Golden State Warriors. All you see is Golden State Warriors, except for one little thing. They've got Rakuten over here. Rakuten, big payments thing. Rocket, you probably do work with Rakuten. And I don't know if they Rakuten sponsor the whole league or just that team, but there's a little sponsor here, Rakuten. But the thing is, this team, and they all jump on, and then they go away and do their individual stuff and be their Sharks, Tigers, Phils, all of that sort of thing. And what happens outside of that, they do their own stuff, but they're on as a part of a team. Now, that made me think about individuals in a team sport. And I don't know. I say I don't know a lot, but I've obviously spent a fair bit of time racking my brain around this, and it's built around, the sports that I do follow and why I follow it. And I like individuals and I like teams, and I like following teams and I like following individuals on. And sometimes when an individual leaves a team, I have a soft spot for another team, or sometimes I don't like them as much because they've left my team and gone to another team.
Yeah, that I understand, but you can't follow players. We're going to get an NBA rabbit hole. NBA is a joke. It's an absolute joke, the way that it works at the minute. The way people switch teams every single year to just try and chase a premiership or a championship is disgusting. There's no love for team at all in there.
I think a lot of the sports are a little bit like that, but still, people aspire towards teams.
Oh no, definitely. And like we said, Ryder Cup shows that. People love it. People fanatical.
Gents, do we call time on this tonight's podcast on that note? Everyone, thanks for listening to our review of last weekend. It went on. I don't know how long this has gone. I don't have the usual. I'm not in the studio, so I don't have the timer.
I think it's the live factor is compounding the time required to discuss, because it's a lot of stuff to talk about the game of golf. It's more than what we've accustomed to in terms of just normal stuff. So unfortunately, it creates a lot of conversation.
Which is good. Gives us something to do. Gives us a reason to have. We're splitting one podcast into two. Thanks for listening to tonight's episode. Thanks for listening to. I went back on the interview Hustings last week, and I spoke with Stuart McPhee. Stuart's part of the great Rules of Golf fraternity in Melbourne, level 2 qualified, and really does has aspirations to referee golf tournaments at a higher level. Interesting character, always up for a chat, and expert in his field of trading. Sitting there trading stocks away and advising people all around the world on the right way to do that. And it was just a good chat to hear a fella come into golf late in life and some of his journey into life, but also then how he equates discipline into his life and also what he does across sport and work. So anyway, listen to that, and we'll do some more interviews. Looking forward to getting to Scotland, because I'm going to be chatting to anyone that I can. I feel like I'm going to be walking around golf courses, just chucking a microphone in people's faces and going, "Who are you? Where are you from? And would you mind if I broadcast this to the world?" Maybe not, but we'll see how we go. Gents, we'll catch you in the, what do we call it? The preview episode for this weekend's golf. So thanks for listening. Jump into the Discord, everyone, and we'll see you in the preview episode in whenever that comes out. Thanks for listening.